be in DC with all four of you. Oh my God, this has been a fun journey with each of y'all, just getting your books together. And I know you all didn't start out as authors, so like, where did you start? Where did you see yourself, and what is your profession now?
Well, I'll start. You're right. Being an author was not something that I had envisioned or being or doing. My field is my specialization is victimization, and I've done that for over 30 years, working with people who have been physically, emotionally, sexually abused. And I have a private practice. Actually, my practice is 27 years old. I've gone from the Pathfinder Project started off as a one-stop shop, working not only with our target programs were for adolescents between the ages of 14 and 17 and their families. And so we provided an array of services. Wow. Mental health services, psychological educational evaluations. Maxine used to run the Rites of Passage, did adolescent group. And I did that for about 18 years and then was hit with cancer, and so I downsized the business. And now Pathfinder Project is primarily me. There are other associates who came, but they started their own practice. So we call it the Pathfinder Project Collaborative. But my passion, I really feel that I'm working in what God called me to do. My gift, we all have gifts. My gift is listening to people in pain. And so God every day gives me what I need in order to be able to meet the needs of others who come before me who are in pain. And so I guess the book actually kind of came out of those two things. When I say those two, the cancer, because when I was diagnosed with cancer, and if I had gone through my treatment, I wanted to leave messages to my kids that would encourage and empower them and plant seeds within them that would carry on long after I'm gone. There were seeds or messages of encouragement and hope about things in life that they would encounter. So the book is kind of a combination of my passion and my gift.
That was definitely abbreviated version, because we've had long chats as well about all the obstacles you personally have gone through. But just that being your profession, I feel like, God prepared you probably to minister to yourself.
Right.
And Maxine, oh my gosh.
Doing that, we laugh about it because Terry, I tell you, I don't know if this book would sit here if it wasn't for Terry, because she was the cheerleader. Every time I get tired, she would say, "Come on, Gail, you can do this." I wanted it to be something that, and I really believe this book is my gift to the universe, and I've been saying that. And I wanted it to be right, and I wanted it to be perfect as perfect can get.
Maxine, you have an awesome story. But what is your profession? Where did you did you see yourself when you were a kid? What were you thinking you're going to be?
I always wanted to be a teacher or a lawyer. And as always, life happens. Lots of trauma, lots of things that just happened in my life, which kind of got me to thinking, okay, so what is all of this about? Meaning making is very important to me. I'm very analytical, so I need to understand things. And that's how I met my friend here. She saved my life, and through her counseling practice. And so just recognizing, different things of how we are developed. I was in school, and I finally decided God was leading me down a path of healing and hope for others. I found myself as a wounded healer. And as a result of that, I was doing a Master Life discipleship training. And that's how I met Cheryl. So we're all intricately, connected and have been a part of each other's lives for a very long time. And I remember taking a Master Life Discipleship class. I grew up in a Christian family. I'm a Christian author. I'm a pastor. So all of my training has been really to understand that spiritual side of us. We're mind, body, and spirit. And so often people don't realize it's that spiritual connection that fosters it all.
Yeah.
And I remember taking a Master Life Discipleship class. I grew up in a Christian family. I'm a Christian author. I'm a pastor. So all of my training has been really to understand that spiritual side of us. We're mind, body, and spirit. And so often people don't realize it's that spiritual connection that fosters it all.
Yeah.
And so went to school for pastoral counseling, graduated, and started writing. I actually started writing during the Master Life Discipleship. That started me writing because it was an opportunity that I could read a scripture and write down what God said to me about that scripture. Again, that meaning making. Okay, so what does that mean after reading that scripture of allowing myself to God to speak to me, but then for me to speak back to God. And so that started my journaling. But that's what started me to writing. And doing my internship of counseling, I actually had to write a dissertation, a paper. So SCARS was the start of that. I just wrote the paper to graduate.
Okay.
and it actually, I got so many different, so much feedback and positives about the book that I decided, because it gives the life story of not only myself, and again, that's that meaning making for me of all of the things that I experienced in life, and connecting those things to now what I learned about counseling and how my body was developed and how my brain works and all of those things. And so I found myself, okay, so I can turn this into a book as well. As you said before, I am already an author, which really, that book was a dump of my domestic violence experience. And so I found healing in all of that, and learning how to listen for God's voice, and also to respond to Him. I learned how to connect those things to my clients that I actually have as well, and can kind of understand and sense where they are, you know, through the scriptures, and help them find meaning making out of their experiences as well. And so that's what the book is about. Everything that I tried to get this book published, it just did not work out. So I was like, God, what are you trying to tell me? I guess he was trying to tell me, you need to call Terry. But, you know, our trio, we used to meet for breakfast, and they started telling me about you, and they had talked about their books that you had published, and I'm like, well, where was I when all this happened, you know? But yeah, they got their books out before me, but yeah, so they said, give her a call. So even with that, I kind of vacillated back and forth, and I finally picked up the phone to call Terry. And from that first conversation, I was like, this is it. This is it. You know, her professionalism, the people, her team of people, they just took the manuscript and did what needed to be done, and you know, got it on Amazon. I never got my other book on Amazon, but you know, she just took the whole ball of wax and put it together and put it out there and made it a reality for me. So I truly thank you and appreciate it.
So Latrina, the baby of the bunch. Tell me how you got a fascinating life story with your young age.
I was in the Navy for 9.5 years, disabled veteran now. My passion are children, like trying to make sure they are learning and understanding who they are and what they can do, and that they are better than what people tell them they are. I have a mentor program that I won a Comcast Award for, and the superintendent of Charles County Schools, I'm starting the program up again, and getting more schools and kids involved in the program. And I love seeing the kids learn, their excitement, the older kids and the younger ones as well. You know, they all can be taught. We all can be taught. And learn from each other, no matter the age of the person. Like you said before, I met you through my friend Yolanda. We grew up together, and she moved to Georgia, and that's where y'all met, right? Y'all met there, and so I think she was at my house. I was on the phone, and I was talking about I always wanted to write a book, and my husband first he was like, I'm tired of hearing you say that. Stop talking about it and just do it. And so I started doing it, and I was telling my friend Yolanda, she was like, oh, my girlfriend published. I was so, ever since then, it's just been easy. Like, even with the book, I didn't have no cover. I didn't tell her, I just told her, like, I want some stars or something. And when we got the book, and it was, I didn't even imagine it, like, you know, so it was like a seamless process. She makes sure that everything is good. I'm a treasurer for somebody's campaign, running for office. I ran for office before commissioner.
Wow.
I'm a mom. I love being a mom.
Yeah, you've done an amazing job with your kids. They're all successful or on the right track. That's a blessing, you
Yes,
know.
it is.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for
It's
sharing.
hard. Yeah.
So, Attorney Cheryl Henderson, Esquire. Would the Esquire go before or after? Okay. We already know we're sitting here in your beautiful conference room at the headquarters of Henderson Law, Law for God, and we're so happy to have you here as part of the trio, the dynamic trio of women that I met through Miss Gail. So
Yes.
tell us, like, did you always want to be a lawyer? Did you?
No, I didn't, but I think it was birthed in me early on. My father, who recently passed in 2021, at the age of 96.
Oh,
No
that's a
sorrow
celebration.
there.
Yeah.
He was,
Wow.
he just left very peacefully
Oh, beautiful.
under his own terms, so that's a joy.
Oh, that is.
But I admired my father, apparently I had expressed I wanted to be a lawyer because some of my high school classmates reminded me of that. But I didn't think that I made that decision until my last year of college. And I am the senior of the group. I will have practiced law for 50 years in 2023.
That's awesome.
Right.
Wow. So you
Yeah.
started right at 2, huh?
That's
I was a
right.
brainiac. You're a prodigy child.
I just turned 50,
But I just want to share a little bit of my story.
Mhm.
I have I was a person in search for a long time in different directions. And even in the practice of law, went straight in from law school, went practice with my dad, still searching and not ever feeling like I was doing what I was called to do. And I always admired people who were living their passion. And I'll tell you a quick story. 20 years into my practice, I had to do one of those career day things, which I hated doing because I felt like I was a phony. And so I did this career day, and I said, I'm going to do something different because this is where I am. I have a relationship with the Lord. And so I started talking about things out of the Bible. But I realized, I can make a difference in the practice of law. I didn't feel like I could. And I began to ask the Lord what He wanted me to do. And it became clear to me that one of the things I wanted to do was to help elders have a perspective on their lives. I saw so many who just didn't feel as if had done everything they needed to do, or that their life was not worthwhile. And so I wanted to instill that in the elders who I serve, and that's how I got into estate planning. It was doing wills, powers of attorney, but I realized if I was going to do that, I have to have a better term, estate planning. And I've been practicing in this area for a good part of my practice for the last 26 years. And I realized the more I did it, the more I honed in on it, that this was my passion. And I've loved it. I said I have loved it because it's now time, it's a different season in my life. But I learned that this was what God had called me to do for this season. And I wrote the book, The Art of Estate Planning, initially for my clients, but really for me to put together what I was doing, how I was doing it, helping clients put all this disparate information, these packets of information. They're trying to put a plan in place that would be effective if they become incapacitated or die. But they didn't know how to do it, and I was able to help. And I wanted this book to be able to help them, as well as other lawyers who were in this area of practice. This is my first book. I'm planning to take another turn in my life shortly and give more of my time to the Lord. And I'm going to help. One of my projects is to help my husband with a lot of books that he has in the works to help with the editing and so forth. And I know that there's a lot more for me to do, just a lot more in writing. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this season where I can know that God is with me and that I am doing what He's calling me to do. And so that's the other thing that I wanted to share is that we have ministries, and that's been another part of my life overseas, and having built the relationships with the pastors and the families overseas has been such a tremendous blessing. And my book, by the way, had been several years trying to get it together. And so finally I did make this decision, and I don't know how long after we first talked, Terry, did I then make a commitment and move forward. But the process was just so smooth. I knew that Terry and team had my back. I didn't know what to expect once the manuscript was ready, because I couldn't see anything further. And she just kept taking me down that road to getting it published. And I truly, truly appreciated you were encouraging. You drew things out of me. It was just a wonderful process. Wonderful process. Excellent. Yes. Excellent.
So, Latrina, you have any upcoming projects?
So I have another book that's coming out. I pay homage to my grandmother. She taught us a lot, and she is the one that got us into church. Well, her and my grandfather. There's a tradition. We have Mardi Gras. We would cook and go sit out and watch the parades and everything. And she was always cooking and packing up things. And so I started learning how to do all those different things. And she was just a person to model yourself after. She didn't come from much, but everything was about family. And, she wasn't as educated, but she kept us together. She passed a couple of years ago, and I just want people to know what she did for us. And I made it into a children's book so children could understand their lineage and, what inspires them to do better and, just to go down that line in history to know where you came from to know, and to get to where you're going. And so I just needed to do that for her because I wasn't there for when she passed. I mean, I went to the funeral, but you know, I live here in the area, so I couldn't get to New Orleans, and I felt like that I owed her that, and so that's what I'm doing now.